What's up, everybody? This is August Thompson.
Mark LePage.
And Michael LePage.
The usual suspects.
Back for episode 7.
Yeah, got full squad tonight.
Hey.
Full squad.
Yeah, I had to step out for a little bit over there. It's been like 2 weeks since we've been together?
Yeah.
Yeah, we get busy, huh?
Yeah. Well, you get busy.
You get busy, yeah. we podcast without you. We were treading along.
How'd it go?
Yeah, pretty good.
Did you miss me?
Oh, yeah.
Tons. Not the same.
How could we not miss you? But I'm going to take my absent day next week, so hope you guys get a good guest replacement.
What are you doing next week?
I'm going to Denver for like a work conference.
So the IMs thing again?
Yeah, so I'll be gone for 4 days, 5 days.
This hot shot over here.
Yeah, so pick someone good, man. I don't want any slackers taking my spot, alright?
Granted, we'll not have any slackers.
Well, we got low standards, so easy to beat.
Yeah, that's what I do. I'm setting you guys up for failure. Constant improvement. You guys should get someone better than me. Someone funny. someone who actually make people laugh.
I love it. Mark, what have you been up to, man?
A string of bad luck. My car got broken into this past week, and so ended up buying a brand new car. So
You bought a brand new car?
brand new car.
What'd you get?
Got a Subaru Outback, 2018. Premium, like heated seats,
Did you
navigation, all that shit.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's awesome, though.
Balled
Are you
out.
excited about that?
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't like a big hit to the wallet per se, because I've been saving up for it for at least 6 months or so.
Yeah.
And then I just had a string of bad fortune, and like with my car being older, I only had liability insurance and not full comprehensive, so I kind of got fucked in that sense, where like my hand was kind of forced, and I had to either like pay a couple $1,000 to repair my car,
Yeah.
or just add that to my like down payment, and so that's what I did.
Wow. Congratulations. I heard Subarus are a very good investment.
They are.
I was talking to a buddy of mine. Apparently they hold their value almost more than any other car.
They really do. I took it up to the snow this weekend, or Monday rather, yesterday.
Hit the all-wheel drive.
Yeah, because it was snowing like almost all the way up there, and the thing just fucking plowed through the snow, no issues. Thing's a beast.
Yeah.
Loved it.
That's great, dude. I'm jealous. I'm looking for a new car right now. I'll probably be driving a PT Cruiser, but
Really? 100% PT
that's
Cruiser.
what it looks like.
Why not take the van at that point?
I was thinking
you
about
should take your
it.
van.
But the van needs to get its transmission fixed as well. So yeah, I get a lot. I have tons of car trouble as always. I feel like I always have car trouble. It plagues me.
Maybe because you buy shitty cars.
I have a Honda.
Or maybe it's how you drive.
Probably is how I drive.
I keep telling him that. Have you ever been in the car with August? It's crazy.
I would gander as how I drive. I wouldn't be opposed to that opinion.
I think it's Tokyo Drift with this Honda Civic.
I wish. Oh yeah, I drifted in that. That's right.
What's new in your life though? These past 2 weeks, haven't seen you.
Dude, so buddy of mine got married.
Yeah,
Nice.
was that
How was
wait?
that?
So did he end up having beer pong?
No, he didn't have beer pong at his wedding. It was hilarious because he's in the Army, so he's in Fort Worth, Texas. So basically, literally, the dude like flew in, had no idea what was going on, just kind of showed up. His wife or fiance, I guess I'm wife now, and like the whole like his mother-in-law pretty much planned the whole thing.
That's how it usually goes.
It was awesome, dude. Like I was in the wedding, so I got to be like, it was the first time being in a wedding, being at the rehearsal. I mean, I was hammered from like Thursday to Saturday, but it was a blast. Dude. I got like, this was one of the first times where all my boys from back home, like we all flew in and came and we're all together, and it was just so much fun. Doing that, been kind of hard at work with this new job, trying to figure out. It looks like, actually, it looks like Simon Sinek was right. The reason I say this because I listened to a talk by Simon Sinek a long time ago about how like millennials are they like get in a job and like in the first like 2 or 3 months they just want to be super fucking happy, super excited, and just feel like they're just kicking ass in the world. And he always talks about how it's like no, like you have to understand like that takes like 6 months to like a year to like start getting acclimated into your position and start actually having like things to kind of like come to fruition. And through this new job, I'm starting to realize that the longer I stay, the more I realize I'm getting more and more responsibility. But I feel like I'm just being delusional because that's only natural. Like that's
Isn't that how everything else goes?
Yeah,
though?
exactly.
In whatever organization you're in, you're not going to come in and just be the CEO.
Exactly. Like that's why I was saying I was being delusional. But just stuff like that, and then just getting caught up. Dude, school kicked up fast right now. All my classes are taken off with papers and midterms, but other than that, not too bad.
Nice.
Yeah.
Right on.
Sweet, man.
Let's go ahead and dive into this chapter. Was it 4?
Chapter 4.
Round 4.
Listen well on Twitter. Do you guys still have a Twitter?
No, I had a Twitter like back in high school for about 6 months, and I just couldn't ever get into it. So I ended up just deleting the account. Haven't been back since.
I loved Twitter in high school.
Really?
Twitter's probably the only like social media that I would thoroughly enjoy. That I would even consider getting back on.
Did you like Yik Yak too?
I don't think I liked Yik Yak nearly as much because it was too anonymous. Right? Yik Yak, you could be like a little anonymous.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. I don't think
all anonymous.
That's what made it fun though, because then you'd get some really like cruel shit on there.
Yeah.
And people wouldn't hold back because they knew it was anonymous.
Yeah, that was the
But
good
like
side
on
to
Twitter,
it.
sometimes people hold back because, you know, it's tied to their name or whatever.
Yeah,
It's
it's a
true.
little more accountability there.
That's true. I don't think you're wrong.
But yeah, Twitter's interesting. It seemed like too much for me though. It's just people just put mindless things on there, things like no one else really needs to know. Like, I had a second cup of coffee today, yay, or something like that. Like, it's just like something that's like unimportant. I guess it's not important enough to like take other people's time away, and like that's how people just post too fast and too frequently on there. But that's just how I see it.
Interesting. Maybe I like it because of the words. I don't know.
Because you have to.
Because it's like
you're limited. In,
yeah, so it's like how much
capacity.
can you fit in 750 words, and like how much you actually saying in 750 words. It just entices me.
Really?
It really.
I thought it
does.
was like 140 characters.
What do you say? Oh, maybe it is. Maybe I'm way off.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure it's 140 characters.
Oh, it is 140.
Yeah.
I was looking at the wrong number.
Yeah, he's really into Twitter, guys.
Yeah. How, and this guy runs social media.
Don't tell anybody.
He's slaying his job. Really putting in the research hours there.
Too many. All right, boys.
He couldn't figure out why his posts weren't going through. Too many characters. They wouldn't let him post it. He's like, dude, the site must be down again.
Oh my gosh.
You're possibly like, oh wow, our Twitter numbers really jumped up. Alright, so this was a decent sized chapter. There's a lot written on there, and like there's obviously a lot to write on Twitter, so I'm not surprised about that. But then obviously you need to like stake out a position, and like page 86 says make a statement, stake out a position, establish a voice. This is how you successfully jab your Twitter followers. And obviously that seems to me about pretty much every social media site. So that was just like common sense to me.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like almost formulaic at that point. Because it kind of didn't say that same thing. Didn't Gary say the same thing with Facebook and Instagram? It's like this is just it's a very formulaic approach to approaching kind of like your market and I guess in this case your followers on Twitter. But I think what's cool about Twitter is that Gary touches on it. I can't remember where. It's a great kind of like communication piece. Like you can really respond and interact with your market and your followers.
Yeah, it's like the easiest one to like start up a conversation, but also just get into a conversation. Like you can just jump in and people don't think it's weird, like you've been stalking the conversation, but rather if you have something interesting to add, people will view that much differently on Twitter than if you jumped in onto a like one-on-one conversation that is happening on Facebook or like Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good point, and obviously that's the benefit of having it, where someone can jump in and it's not socially unacceptable. Does that go too far? Because I don't have a Twitter. Does that go too far where you're like losing people in this conversation? Because now you have like 50 people jumping in at one time. Does that ever happen where now it's just getting drowned in a bunch of noise?
I think it can, and I think you I think you select who it is that you choose to talk to. But I think Gary did a really good job when he was on Twitter about responding and interacting with pretty much all of his fans. Right? Like I felt like he was always just kind of like ready to react, ready to eager to like interact with whoever he was talking to. But it could definitely get overloaded, which is why didn't that porn star just commit suicide from getting bashed on Twitter?
Yeah, she did.
She did.
August.
Because it was
not our August, a different August.
Yeah.
Don't get confused.
Obviously,
he's not a porn
obviously
star.
he's not dead.
I swear.
Deal.
August is many things, but a porn
You're
star
giving it
is
away.
not
Man.
one of them.
You're giving it away. But yeah, I mean, that's
Find him on the adult websites later.
Yeah, man.
Now they're going to be searching August Thompson on all the porn sites.
Watch it come up.
Yeah. God, I hope August Thompson's real. Hope that's a real porn name.
I know, but like, kind of like going back to like 50 people talking and like how it does allow you to kind of like express your voice. It kind of is interesting how something like that and someone like that, you can get just bombarded so quickly from so many different angles and so many different people and feel kind of all that angst and hate against you.
So have you never had that experience where the conversation was either dulled or drowned out or became meaningless when a bunch of people jumped in and it kind of steered away from what it was going towards, or it took away its meaning or its, I would say, momentum?
I can anticipate that it does, because like, doesn't everything kind of start somewhere? Like you build it to start something, and then gradually will go in whatever direction it continuously flows to.
Yeah, eventually you just lose control of it.
Yeah,
It'll go in a path that you can't direct it or like predict that it will go, because the people decide that.
it's just going to self-generate and continue to generate and generate and generate
Until it fizzles out.
But what about like from a marketing perspective? Like how I think he's touching about on 87 about, what is it, a furniture furniture retailer to engage with people who mention the company name, words like work, employee, employer. Like I always am curious about how does a business, with the exception of Wendy's is the only company I constantly think about when I think about Twitter, because like they're
like the all-star cast of Twitter.
They are. They have to. They're awesome. It's hilarious what they did. They started adding people and just started kind of like poking fun at whatever their pages had on or what they were like talking about.
They roast some people. Like, they do it all.
It seems like if you want to break through, that's what you got to do. You got to use like everyday humor, because a corporation won't do that. They'll be coming from a very conservative perspective and warning about their image and liabilities and lawsuits and all that end of the spectrum. So if you come out of it like Wendy's, that's like Trump coming out and just saying what he thinks and shooting from the hip. But now you're doing it from a corporation perspective rather than a political perspective.
I agree.
So then you're just going to have a bunch of people think like, oh, that's funny, I'm going to follow this now.
So
and
breaking the molds of society, kind of stripping away.
Yeah, you're breaking
burning away that deadwood.
You're breaking like the social norms of what corporations typically speak and act like. That's what Wendy's did, basically.
Yeah, and I'm curious if it's worked for them. We should have done a little more research on that.
Where's that post? Didn't they have?
Is it in here?
Yeah, wasn't there something in here about Wendy's? I'm not sure.
No, I don't think so.
There's some funny post. Damn. That would have been a good one. Oh well.
Did you guys find anything in that? Choose hashtags carefully on page 93 that you guys really enjoyed?
I'm 93.
Don't be the guy who hollered out, "Raise the roof" a year too late.
Yeah, I thought that was hilarious. But so true. So true.
But the guy, like, if we say it now, it would probably be like, cool, it's groovy, man. It's groovy.
Because it came back. It came back in that cycle.
Yeah.
What I thought was interesting and like really is true is being cool is nothing to do with your age. It has to do with how solid your identity is.
Wow, what page is that on?
93.
93?
Like, that's one of the... Because, think about it. If you look at, like, older people and people that seem to, like, really know who they are and, like, true to themselves, you admire them. You think of them as cool, and you do the same thing for like even young kids, like as young as like like elementary school kids or anything, or any age really, where if they're true to themselves and they're comfortable with their identity, if some little kid is really into sports and he plays sports all the time and you can tell he just has an amazing time playing sports whenever he's doing it, it seems so true and genuine, and so you're like, oh, that kid's pretty cool, You kind of put that image on them whether you consciously think about it or not. And I think that can be applied to any age, really. Because you look up to, like, older people, like Warren Buffett or something, and you look at Warren, and he's just this multi-billionaire, but, like, still a genuine guy where he can be relatable, and he always talks in these senses where it's relatable, kind of like Trump does, and doesn't have like a typical like ego that many like top hedge fund owners have or anything like that. It's just a very relatable guy that still lives in Omaha, Nebraska, and like the house, like one of the first houses that he ever bought, and still lives in that house, and it's just like a modest but ballin' dude at the same time, And so you kind of respect him and think he's cool because of that.
He is a cool guy. He has McDonald's breakfast every morning?
No.
I watched like a little like 20-minute video on him one time, and apparently it's the way he does it is like his wife leaves like a certain amount of change on the table, and that determines like which of the 3 breakfasts he gets from McDonald's every morning.
Really?
So super rich, but that's like his routine. Like that's just what he enjoys. That's what he likes.
It'd be hilarious if Trump and him had a McDonald's breakfast date and recorded that like conversation.
That'd be awesome.
That'd be hilarious.
But I think you're absolutely right. I think Gary is 100% correct. I get this all the time when I listen to Jordan Peterson, which I've been starting to listen to his personality lectures in the morning.
Really?
Yeah.
Those are absolutely
necessary.
nutty.
They're necessary.
Well, it changes your world and how you see people and how you interact with people. And it's so useful.
Yeah. I think I'm on 3 right now.
Are you?
Yeah, but it's like I just wake up because I don't have that much time during the day to focus on it, but I can pop up, turn it on in the morning, and go throughout my stuff and kind of like let it cycle. But it's so true. It's like the closer you get to yourself, the more people want to be around you. It's something like I think I've really noticed. It's like the more true you can stay to who you are, and the closer you can keep walking in line with yourself, the more people start to gravitate around that because everyone wants to feel that. They love that feeling.
Yeah, well, and like people who are similar to you will gravitate around you. Because if you're true to yourself and people who don't have those interests that you have won't gravitate around you, but you'll find people who do have similar interests.
That's true.
So it's not like everyone's going to gravitate around you. It seems like certain people are going to gravitate around you.
You find your little flock.
Yeah, you find your own flock. That's a good way to put it.
Yeah, it's so true. I like that.
Another big part of Twitter that seems kind of obvious to me, and maybe seemed obvious to you guys as well, but was like looking at the trends that are happening in your area, in the world, and being able to apply your brand, your company to those trends in a subtle way where it comes across as more natural. And like users will be more receptive to.
Yeah, that seems like a strength for some of the smaller businesses, that they can adapt faster and they can get things out faster and post things with less corporate overhead and regulation. So if you are a small business, that seems like you can really hit those niche pop culture markets right away as fast as possible.
But they have a harder time. The small business companies trying to like be on top of trends all the time, because Twitter's happening 24/7, and these big companies will dedicate literally teams of people to one Twitter account, and so they can stay on the top of like the best trends, the best topics, everything. While if you're a small company, you may only have one person on all your social media platforms, and that one person's got to sleep sometime. And so obviously you're not going to have somebody at all waking hours working on trends, working on things that are happening right now in the world. And so, or you may miss it because you're on another social media site or any of those number of scenarios that could occur. And so in a sense, it's a lot harder for a small business to like compete at those levels. So that's why it's much more crucial when you do compete at those levels, it has to be high quality.
Yeah, I can speak to that because, I mean, my company only has, I don't know, 10 people. And so, like I just kind of do a little bit of Facebook marketing. And the other guy who does it, it's like, it's impossible, man. To gather all that research, to do all that with just one person competing against those bigger companies, like, it's tough. It's a lot harder. But at the same time, it's like Twitter and Facebook and all these platforms do give you that opportunity. Because it kind of is an even level playing field if you can actually get the followers and start producing the content that people actually want to see and listen to.
And it seems like the freedom help evens the playing field between the small company and the big company. Because the big company has their standards and they have to standardize everything. That's why they're big. But the small company, there's really no regulation or corporate oversight above them, and they don't really have a boss on them constantly telling them they can and cannot do something. And so the small business has more freedom to post whatever they want rather than big companies posting whatever they want. Because big companies have interests they have to be aligned with to continue being big and surviving. And so they're restricted from saying particular things when small businesses aren't.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, to an extent. But if you, like, Wendy's is a great example that bucks that trend. They don't give a fuck. They're out there roasting people and having a great time and has some of the funniest and like borderline like tweets ever.
And I think that's what the small companies are doing. What Wendy's is doing.
So huge.
And that's why Wendy's broke out, because they're the only big company that allowed them to do that from a corporate side.
I'm sure there's other ones out there. You just don't know of them.
Yeah.
There's no way Wendy's is the only one.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like, most of the small companies are the Wendy's. That's the majority of those companies who are saying the most authentic, real stuff and can actually making the connection with their customer. Because and they also know, like, in their city, like, what's going on too. If you're a corporate entity and you're Kansas City, you don't really know what's going on in Tennessee, and so that's where the small companies have that locality that the big companies don't have, and so then they use their locality advantage to post and gain favors within that locality.
Yeah, but that's exactly where big companies can far out surpass the small companies, because they have literally teams of people, like tens and tens of people that are focused on one Twitter account. And so in that aspect, you have people, especially if you're a national corporation where you have people all over the country, you're going to have people in different sections of the country, like, still working on that one account. And so you still have the locality of dividing it, because in the end, it still has to be a human that is putting something on Twitter. So whether it's the one guy at the small business or 50 people at one big business in 50 different locations doing the same thing, you're gonna get way better content from those 50 people, just like out of a numbers game. Unless you got one sick dude on that Twitter account who's really clever, really smart, really witty. It's possible, but just in a numbers mathematical game, that big company always has the potential to oversight the smaller company to thrive at a higher level.
Yeah, but I mean, while we're talking about like how small companies does it, I mean, Gary gives us a perfect example with this KPMG Mickelson and the Mickelson hat, right? So he talks about how they weren't even a U.S. sponsor because Phil Mickelson's a golfer playing in the U.S. Open, and they used the hashtag Father's Day to support their hat right before Father's Day is around the corner, and we're able to get to number one as the most like used hashtag and most clicked on hashtag when it comes to Father's Day from their post, right? So that's how, like, we're talking about small business going against big business, and not having those teams and advertising and all that stuff. I mean, it's not that hard to look up the top trending hashtags. It's just knowing where and which field you need to operate.
Yeah. But I also liked how he talked, how that post about the Phil Mickelson and the Father's Day, how he used that as an example of how you can like poorly use hashtags, because the hashtag Phil's blue hat only had 3 mentions like several days after the post. So he used that as an example where not like you got to be very selective on what hashtags you're using and use them in the right way, because if you're putting meaningless hashtags, especially on something like Twitter where you only have 140 characters, it can be very detrimental to your post.
Yeah, and it talks about how they did 2 backlinks to that site, which is criminal. It's a rule of criminal, because you're giving the consumer too much time and giving too many steps when they just want the one click. Boom, there's my product. Okay, there's my purchase.
If I want Phil's blue hat, I'm clicking on that link and it better be right there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to have to go searching for that.
I mean, Amazon, they have that click to buy now,
Mm-hmm.
that new thing. I mean, that's dangerous, man. I don't want to accidentally click. Boom, there goes my $40. Jeez, there it goes. Man. Down the drain.
It seems like it should be like a double click and then confirm purchase or something like that.
I haven't set it up yet. I'm too scared to set it up because I'm afraid.
Oh, do you already have one?
Well, no, I haven't. I have an Amazon account, but I haven't set it up to where I do the one click app. I'm too afraid.
Yeah.
Boom, oh, there goes $40, man.
Yeah.
They have a pretty good refund policy.
They do, actually.
So,
Granted.
but I would definitely still be scared of that myself, though.
Yeah. Mike, what else do you see?
I mean, yeah, going back to the Phil's blue hat, obviously you want to click on it and go straight to the hat. I don't understand how people can, be called a social media marketer and not get that down or anything like that. Is that what we're talking about?
Knock it down that it takes a one click.
Yeah, where it's supposed to take you right to the hat.
Yeah.
It's like if that was my social media guy, I might fire him if he didn't do that.
Wow.
Because that's so obvious. I'm not even a social media guy, and yeah, you should have everything linked to where it's supposed to go, and it should be the shortest route possible for your customer.
Yeah.
So it's that should be every company's main that should be in their 10 commandments of marketing, really.
Yeah,
It's I don't understand why you would have any company in the world would have they're trying to sell this particular Jordan sneaker, and you click on it and it just goes to the home page of the thing rather than the Jordan sneaker that
I
you
get
wanted.
upset when that happens. As a consumer.
When it goes to the home screen rather than what you're trying to.
Yeah, I get
yeah,
this.
exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know how companies are messing this up. It's so easy to understand, and you don't have to have a marketing degree or anything to understand that.
You just have to understand the consumer.
Yeah. Well, and I guess you just have to understand the consumer and consumer experience, and you're trying to provide the best possible experience. Especially if you're a private company, that's how you make your bread. That's your bread and butter right there. You have to please your consumers, otherwise they're just going to go to a different company within that market.
Yeah.
You're always constantly competing, so wow.
True.
It's unbelievable that companies haven't figured that out yet.
If you work for Mike's company, make sure you get backlinks. Otherwise, you are getting fired on the spot. You're walking to the next meeting. No, you're not in here anymore, man.
I'm not even a marketing guy, and I know that, so that's bad.
That's hilarious.
That's bad.
That's good, man. I like that. What else?
Well, shouldn't that be the standard? I don't get how that wouldn't be the standard. But
It should be the standard. I just don't know.
Jeez, bro.
I don't know.
Come on.
Unless you spend all your time on these devices, I guess you don't know that, but you should know that. But at the same time, going back to a small business, do you have the infrastructure to build that and have coders and developers that are doing that for you?
It's super easy to link stuff to images and stuff. We do that at my work, and I haven't coded or anything.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Good job.
Yeah. It's just easy. I don't know.
Nice.
But that's basically leads into this. You want to be gentle and subtle when you're jabbing, but when it's time to ask for business, go for it. Don't be bashful and own it. So you, obviously, if you're going to ask something, then it's better to do it with confidence and sincerity and authenticity. Otherwise, it's like you going to ask a girl out on a date, but you do it very weaselly or unconfidently. and you kind of stutter, and like the chances of you getting that date would probably decrease the more you stutter.
Unless she's like really sweet, like maybe she just has a soft spot for you.
Maybe, maybe she thinks it's cute you're stuttering.
Yeah,
but
man.
I don't know.
Then you're that little like helpless puppy dog.
Then you're like
you don't want to be that either.
You want to be the alpha.
You don't want to seen as a beta male, I guess.
No, that's true. Because they always say business is cutthroat.
Business is business.
I think that's the
dollars
world.
and
Though. I
cents,
think the
man.
world's cutthroat.
The world's cutthroat?
Because
That's a good way to
you'll get
think about
screwed
it.
over in business, government, politics, economics, like whatever field you're in, environment, like you're gonna get screwed if you don't like look out for yourself, basically.
So if you're gonna shoot straight.
Shoot straight, shoot hard, man.
Take your shots.
Yeah, shoot or shoot, right?
It's a great saying.
Shooters gotta shoot. Another important aspect is that he touches on is if your company and somebody says something like positive about your company, especially like on Twitter, it's bad taste to like retweet it and like saying, because you're just like adding to a one-way conversation where you're like patting yourself on the back essentially, where someone's like, oh, that's awesome, like I had a great experience at the Holiday Inn, and they're like, awesome, thanks for coming, can't wait to see you again, like something like that. It just seems like you're patting yourself on the back, and you're not going to get any conversation going through that,
Mm-hmm.
So you can't say awesome, can't wait to see you again if you're reposting it, but a reply to that is like, thanks, we'll see you again. That's acceptable, but you just can't repost it on your Twitter, your main feed again.
I don't think you should respond to
If so and so,
any of them. Like
any positive remark to your company that you shouldn't respond to.
not like basic ones, If it's like inquiry where you can start a conversation, but you're just gonna say thanks or something relatively similar to thanks, come again, or whatever, then you should probably just like shy away from that.
Just let it go.
Yeah, because Twitter's all about building and having a conversation, and having that with like one individual person, for everybody that follows you see that, it's not a good look.
Interesting. I would never have thought that. I would have, man, if someone was...
Yeah.
Like it would be cool for that one person, right? But like everybody who has your Twitter and follows you is gonna see that, oh, thanks Shelby, and to them it's like, I don't care what Shelby did.
That's true.
It's not relative to me.
But he does say to respond though, doesn't he? To like interact with them?
Yeah, to have like a conversation, but
Yeah.
saying like thanks is not the start of a conversation, it's the end of a conversation.
Well, thank you, Mark.
So let's say I'm following Best Western, and I reply thanks to August's post. Will everyone who's following me in August see that on their feed, and it will come through their feed?
If you retweet it.
So if I don't retweet it and I just
If you just like reply to
it, only his people would see it?
Yeah.
And not Best Western?
Yeah. It's just the retweeting
Just the retweet?
It's the retweeting of the fan praise is what can be a mistake that thousands of brands make every day. And probably because PR companies love to tell their clients that it's a smart move, Because like, oh, look at me, like, she says I'm doing great, so look at that one, So it's just kind of it's a weird look to have, and not one that Gary Vee suggests. Which I tend to agree with.
And if you put that into a concrete example, where it's like, where I go up to August and say, hey, you're like a great football player, and then August just turns around and says, hey everyone, Michael says, I'm a great football player.
Yeah, basically.
See how that sounds ridiculous and as a
and that's
person?
what it looks like when you
Yeah.
retweet something like that.
Yeah. You're just repeating all the
Hey, Joe thinks I'm great.
positive comments people say.
So I'm great, right?
All the praise that people give you, you're just repeating that out loud to other people.
Yeah, people think you're
That
an
sounds
asshole.
ridiculous. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It sounds absolutely
You
ridiculous.
sound like a conceited fuck.
Yeah.
Dude, do you know what someone said about me yesterday?
Yeah.
Let me tell you, dude.
That's the stuff you would hear in elementary school where the kids haven't figured that out yet and they're still
Yeah,
figuring
yeah.
out those social norms.
Well, my dad said I can do. Dude, I want to jump to this Chubby Shorts on page 102. This has got me cracking up.
That was a good one.
The cargo embargo. That's hilarious, dude. Like, it's such a good point. But I want to touch on the 3 things that Gary touches on that you need to do within a post. He says, understanding the nuances of your platform, use a distinct voice, and drive your business goals. And what a distinct voice. A cat named Pablo Picasso, greater than cargos. And it's like, for such a visual standpoint, this is a meme. Yeah, this is a meme. For a visual standpoint, I mean, it's plain, it's basic, but it gets the point out directly across. And he talks about how he compares the hashtag guarding hashtag that Hollister used to the cargo embargo, where like it is a very unique hashtag. That why would Chubbies even use a cargo embargo hashtag? The creative in this, I think, is phenomenal, and you can't let it pass. You can't let it go. And Gary raves about this one. What do you guys think about this one?
I like it because it's simple and you don't need to read the actual like hashtags at the top to think the post is funny. Like the image is plain and simple and just has a cat named Pablo Picasso greater than sign cargos. And then at the bottom it says cargoembargo.org. And if you just look at that and you see that it came from Chubbies, you can immediately link the two. And you don't necessarily need the hashtags, even though the hashtags like help it. And so I thought it was, in that sense, it's just a good, clean post that any company could duplicate almost.
Is that cargoembargo.org an actual like website? Or is that just something they put on there for fun?
I don't know. I'm curious if they bought the URL.
I imagine they created something.
We're looking it up right now.
August typing in his computer, pulling it up on the TV. The site can't be reached.
Not a real site.
Still funny though.
It's for sale.
Yeah, who wants it?
Aw, too bad. I was excited.
For $2,000.
What I think is hilarious about this is at the end, Gary closes it by saying, it raised our brand awareness, which got us talking about the shorts, made us a little obsessed, which led me to buying 11 pairs, one for each member of the team. The VaynerMedia team's thighs will be out in Chubby style. Like, I mean, if that doesn't say that he respects their branch of marketing in that aspect, I mean, he went ahead and bought one for every single one of his team, probably to remind them, hey man, you gotta be simple, you gotta be easy.
Yeah.
Look at what Chubbies did. Don't lose sight of the end goal.
And they do a good job of creating like their own catchphrases, like Soto, skies out, thighs out. And for anyone who doesn't know who Chubbies is, it's like thigh high shorts, kind of like retro throwback to 70s.
For men, not women.
For
Just
men.
for those older people to
And-
clarify.
Yeah. But having like creating your own like catchy catchphrases like that, a lot, like that's the start of conversations. And you could, like, I've definitely heard friends and other people like just say that in normal day conversation because it can come up and it's catchy and it just seems like a cool thing to say, I guess.
Dilly dilly.
Definitely dilly. It's just
Dilly
another
dilly.
dilly, man.
It
Cargo
is.
embargo.
Do you know how much I heard that at the wedding?
Dilly.
Dilly dilly. It was like after every toast. Dilly dilly. It was great. Did you guys find one that was like that Gary hated? He was just not a huge fan of, since we went to one that he loved.
Well, that next one sucked.
Where are we going? Oh, the PR?
Yeah.
Why don't you talk about that?
So the next one is, I don't know, was it Bulgari US? So it's like Bulgari Jewels, and it's basically a picture of a long dinner table with low lighting, and there's essentially only lighting in the middle of the table, but you can't see anyone around the table, and you're just squinting to try to figure it out. It looks like in some type of tent. And so Gary essentially rails this post by saying that you have to squint to see anything, and you're not even sure what you're looking at. You can tell it's somewhat of a nice dinner, but that's it, and you don't know who the people are. And it just says delicious food provided by Food Inc. Catering. And so it's just, the description's terrible along with the picture. And he just rails it.
Yeah, it is kind of sad. He said it's just kind of for the PR company to go ahead and get their impressions.
Yeah, and just like, it's just like a shout out for the catering company.
Yeah.
And you have no idea what the catering food looks like
or
or what they cater. And yeah, it just seems like the social media guy was super lazy or forgot about it and last minute took a picture and like, oh, I need to do a shout out for my job to this food company.
You must have. Do you guys see any last touches that we should grab before we close over here?
It might be cool just to go over the last page of each section.
He does great page.
So after every chapter, he has questions to ask about whatever social media site they're using. So this one is questions to ask about your Twitter content. And the first one is it to the point? The second one is the hashtag unique and memorable? Is the image attached high quality? Does the voice sound authentic? Will it resonate with the Twitter audience? So those 5 questions is what you should look at before you post anything on Twitter. Which is always a good sum up for each chapter, I feel like.
I should tear these out and put them on my wall.
That's what you should actually do.
Yeah.
That'd be really smart.
Actually.
That'd be really helpful.
Right before, right in my office. That's a good idea.
And then you just have to run through those questions before you post anything, and then
That's a good little checklist to make sure you're hitting all those things.
Yeah.
If not, most of them.
If not, it's not worth posting.
Yeah.
You're wasting the time and energy.
Yeah.
Or go back and re-engineer.
That's why it's such a powerful summation of the chapter. It's because basically what his 5 main points in the chapter is, he just put those in questions for his readers.
Sweet. What do we got next week? What's next week coming up?
Pinterest.
For round 5.
The mom's world?
Mom's world.
Yeah, the mom's world for sure.
Moms love Pinterest.
Half of them are mothers. Wow. Yeah, that should be an
Mothers and teachers.
We should get a mom on our podcast for the Pinterest episode.
Who has
I might know
who use it.
if you know a really funny mom who has a good Pinterest,
I'll see what I can
throw
do.
on.
I'll see what I can pull it in my back pocket. We'll go to the. I don't know. We'll find out. That'd be kind of interesting though. All right. Well, my name's August.
My name's Mark. I think they're starting to know us by now.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
They should.
We don't need to sign off official radio hosts every time.
Yeah.
Radio host 1 out.
All right. See you guys later.